Could one of the greatest players in baseball, perhaps baseball history, land on the north side in 2024? Find out next.
Are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy, and this is Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Please support the show and be a part of the Locked On Cubs community by following and subscribing on all audio platforms. And you can watch, subscribe, and leave a comment on YouTube. Thanks for making us your first listen. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Really stuck the landing on that one. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. First spring training game is Saturday. Opening day is 36 days away. And here we are as the premier Cubs program dreaming of landing a future free agent. Sam, Shohei Ohtani enters free agency this offseason. He knows Seiya Suzuki. Seiya Suzuki knows him. They're going to be teammates for Japan in the World Baseball Classic coming up in a couple of weeks. When asked Monday about possibly recruiting Ohtani to the Cubs, Suzuki responded, "I've invited him." Since you've heard the news about Suzuki possibly recruiting the best two-way player of all time, one of the best players perhaps in baseball history, what was your excitement level initially, or how are you trying to gauge this as a Cubs fan?
I think people forget that when he was originally posted to the Angel and he went to the Angels, the Cubs were one of the finalists.
I did forget that till today.
So we've talked about this. We've done a prior show on this.
Some people think they were second.
Right. We've done a prior show on this, and I'll say this again. I think that this is real. My only, I want to focus on 2023, so I don't want to, ruin the whole, season thinking about it. I know a lot of people have commented on our shows saying, hey, the reason why they're 12th in payroll, 14th in payroll is because they're saving up for Ohtani. My whole thing is I think it's real. I think he has interest coming here. I think he needs to, and I know this sounds crazy because he plays in LA, but that's like saying you play in Chicago and you play for the Sox. He doesn't play for the Dodgers, so it's not like he really plays in LA. I think he needs to go to a diehard baseball town for people to truly appreciate his greatness. I think the people around him know that. My only apprehension comes from I'll believe it when I see it when it comes to this organization spending that type of money. That's the hiccup for me. I believe there will be interest from his end and, of course, obviously from our end. Will we be able to outbid everybody else, or will we do what we do and just count every dollar and at some point just say, all right, the 10-year, $500 million thing is too long. We're not going to do this. I don't want to get too far into it because a lot of if the Cubs are going to do it depends on how this season goes. But this is what I'll say. I think it's real. I don't think it's smoke and mirrors. I don't think it's going to be one of these shows that you do and our listens like, oh, they're just trying to get listens. No, this is real. And there's only a certain amount of teams that can make an offer for Shohei Ohtani, and the Cubs are one of them. Right. The only question on his end would be, how does he deal with April? Does he like the cold? Can he get past that?
The Cubs are in the mix for sure. I would say Cubs. Well, beyond the Angels, I would say Cubs, Dodgers, Padres, Mariners, and Mets, and probably the Yankees as well. But really, it's all the usual suspects. If you kind of lay it like that, Seattle had the best Japanese player in up until Ohtani, and so they have a lot of street cred with with players that come over from that country, and the Dodgers seem like a fit for anybody. The Padres, I think, maybe got overlooked. They offered Aaron Judge over 400 M's like 2 months ago.
Yeah, they'll spend money. The question with that is if you're Ohtani, do you really want to go to play in San Diego? Like,
Right.
You might as well just stay with the Angels. You're going to go. You need to go somewhere where every
Down the street,
eyeball.
basically.
Yeah, you want to change the game. You're not changing the game with San Diego and the Angels. You're changing the game in Chicago or New York City, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a great breakdown, and that's what makes it very exciting.
Or
because
Boston.
I think his free agency is going to be giant for the sport. And I think in some cases, baseball needs that. I'm not asking it to be a college football recruiting trip or anything like that,
No.
but in a way, it would be fun if it was.
It needs more NBA soap opera stuff.
Yeah, and it would be fun if his visits were made public and you saw where he was going. And obviously, you're not going to go no offers, but
like LeBron in 2011.
Yes. Yeah, it would be so cool. It'd be so great for the game.
Yeah.
And for the fans, especially. It's very exciting. And from a baseball perspective, it's insane.
Yeah.
Not only for the Cubs, but for 29 other clubs, because this is a 2-for-1.
Not for Kansas City.
It's or Washington.
Yeah.
It's two free agents in one. It's a number one pitcher in your rotation. I mean, that's not a debate.
It's not a debate, Matthew.
And it's a 2, 3, or 4 hitter that has plus power, by the way.
Plus power. He's the best power hitting lefty bat in the game.
He does everything. So it's going to command a good number. I'm not sure if I'm here to talk numbers.
No, we're not here yet.
Real quick, though, I do think the owners are going to collude so that number doesn't start with a 5. I truly believe that. We'll see what Steve Cohen has to say about that.
Yeah. Right.
But I think the number's going to start with a 4. And
I don't.
It's well deserved.
The number's going to start with a 5.
Okay.
And let me just tell you a quick little anecdote.
Mm-hmm.
I had my dad over last night. We were watching the Illini play the 1-14 Golden Gophers, and we were talking about Ohtani. And my dad's more a Cub fan than a baseball fan, but he's up to date with his current events with baseball. And he didn't even realize how great Ohtani was. He knew, obviously, that Ohtani's a good pitcher and a good hitter. When I told him exactly what you just said, that he is a non-debatable number 1 in a rotation and a non-debatable top 2 power bat in the business, or top 3, he's like, all right, are you serious? And it just occurred to me, that's where baseball is missing.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody like my father, who loves the game of baseball, should know how great this young man is. And nobody's forgetting how great he is if he's playing at Wrigley Field. Okay.
Oh, it would be a huge surge.
I told my dad yesterday, and this is no disrespect to the hockey team, because I don't know anything about him, so take that away. If he were to be a Chicago Cub, it'd be the biggest story in Chicago sports since the summer of '98.
Wow.
No, really.
Well, the marketing is would be prolific.
Oh,
think about the jerseys, the bobbleheads, the posters,
and this is the best fan base in the business,
right? The billboards.
I mean, he'll hit a ball down Kenmore Ave.
Yeah, he will.
No, it's really exciting. It's kind of like a safety net. If this season doesn't go well, we just start talking about Ohtani every day.
Yeah, it is fun. I love looking at his resume, like you just pointed out. Listen to this: Rookie of the Year in 2018, All-Star in 21 and 22, MVP in 21, MVP. Runner-up in 22.
Mm-hmm.
Just last year, 2.33 ERA with 219 strikeouts in 166 innings. At the plate, he slashed 273, 356, 519 with 34 home runs.
Yeah, if you just
it's a video game.
if you just had him as a pitcher, you're thrilled. If you just had him as a hitter, you're thrilled. You have him as both. The only way you could screw it up is if you wear an Angel jersey.
And I wonder what the Angels could do to try to keep him. I would almost venture to say there's very little.
Yeah, I would probably say the word would be win this year.
Right. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And he's on the record that he says he wants to be a part of a winner. So let me give you this. How about Nico Horner, Dansby Swanson, Seiya Suzuki, Justin Steele,
Sam Olber,
Keegan Thompson.
I'll take him out for a beautiful deep dish slide.
Jameson Tyone, some of the best prospects in this ball game.
Yeah, that's not going to be it, Matthew, because
let me show you this possible lineup next year.
Okay.
PCA leading off in center. Horner at second. That's a misprint. Ohtani, DH. Suzuki in right. Swanson at short. Mervis at first. Brennan Davis in left. Morel at third. And Gomes behind the dish.
Yeah, no, you're just you're forgetting McKinstry, Madrigal, and David Bodie. No, it's fun stuff. Be excited about it.
David Bodie grounded out against Justin Steele today. We'll get to that later in the show.
No, and I watched him take a live AB against Killian as well.
Yeah.
And he grounded out as well, by the way. No, it's really exciting stuff. Look, I just want to close with how I open. I think it's real. I think there's a real chance. Go ahead.
Exciting things to ponder for sure. And one of those things, though, is when push comes to shove, would the Cubs, despite this being a generational player, actually pay the money? Cubs owner Tom Ricketts was asked about payroll, among other things, on Monday, and we get to that next. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel, the #1 sports book in America. New customers join today to get started with $150 in free bets, guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up at FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel has all your favorite bets, from the money line to point spreads to player props. Plus, you can even combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with the same game parlay. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So don't miss out. Place your first $5 bet to get $150 in free bets, win or lose, at FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of Locked On Cubs. Welcome back into Locked On Cubs. Thanks for making us your first listen. Shout out to all the audio peeps, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, and more. And if you have Amazon Prime, you can listen to this program ad-free. Cubs owner Tom Ricketts met with the media Monday discussing payroll, streaming rights, jersey sponsorship, the new sports book, some playoff goals, and a little bit more. When asked about where the Cubs should rank in payroll and how they have bounced in and out of the top 10 since 2016, Ricketts said he will not promise a top 10 payroll. He also wants to stay near the competitive balance tax in 2023, the CBT. The CBT this year is 233 M's. The Cubs are currently at about 226. And there was some more as well, Sam. Jersey sponsorship, some stuff about Marquee. There were certainly some takeaways here. I am still wondering about why he's so touch and go with the payroll stuff. And I get the outlook for 23 and wanting to stay near the tax and not go over it. But is there any closure at all or any indication or believability? Because he said when the time is right, they'll go over the tax. Do you believe that?
I don't know.
Okay.
As I said on yesterday's show.
The live show?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
My one concern, the thing that bothers me the most about this team, this organization right now, is the lack of transparency and the weirdness with the spending. And that quote files under that category. Why can't you promise a top 10 payroll when it costs me $83.27 for a cappuccino outside the bar? Okay. I don't like that. And again, even though I want to emphasize this, yes, I like a lot of the acquisitions the Cubs made this season, but the acquisitions they made felt very small markety, right? Matt, they had no committed money. They had to add 7, 8 guys just to field a roster. So it feels like they did a lot financially in the offseason. They're not a top 10 payroll team. Why? I think that's a fair question right now. And I will be banging on the table if this team does win 85 games and it felt like they were one guy away and maybe that was a third baseman, why didn't you go get it? So I like where this team's headed. But at the same time, I do have long-term concerns about the resources that ownership is going to give to win games. Now, people will comment below and say, why? Why do you feel like that? There's no way the Cubs can be broke. And my thing is, where there's smoke, there's fire. They clearly don't want to spend that much. He said it himself for right now. Why?
And I feel,
Ohtani?
Are they saving for Ohtani?
Yeah, I don't buy that. I don't think they have. I don't think they want to spend that much moolah.
I hope they do. You know, my thing is
by they I mean Ricketts, by the way.
I feel strange as a fan when we're talking payroll and Ricketts is up there and he keeps pushing the sports book and the deal and the possible revenues from that. And by the way, have you seen the construction of that thing? It's kind of an eyesore.
No, I don't, Matt, because what I try and focus on is innings 1 through 9.
Yeah. And the other possible revenue source, jersey patches that some teams are doing. Folks, this isn't NASCAR.
There's not
how much of an increase in revenue is a jersey patch, and do I want that to dilute the great Cubs uniform?
It's funny. I'm giving my dad way too much publicity today, but
this isn't auto racing.
As we were watching the Ohtani highlights, he noticed how half the stadiums were all empty when he was hitting home runs. And my dad goes, how do they even afford to give a guy $500 million? Where's the money come from? And the answer is, I don't think there is much.
Well, especially with the TV deals in payroll right now.
Right. And that's why you do see a billionaire like Tom Ricketts overseeing one of the greatest franchises in the history of sports, milking coffee and gambling instead of talking about winning and spending. Whereas Steve Cohen goes, hey, let's give this guy $40 million. I want to win game 4.
And he almost got Carlos Correa too.
Yeah, I mean, he did get him.
Right.
He just didn't realize that Correa can't walk.
The last thing with Ricketts from Monday that I just don't understand, and I will talk about till I'm blue in the face, Cubby blue, is this whole Marquee situation.
I'm having such a good day.
And I have to give the exact quote. They asked him about the direct-to-consumer option, that if you or I want to get Marquee,
we have to live in Taiwan.
Get Marquee for $10 a month or something.
Right. Make the most sense in the world.
Right? I'm in market too. I'm also in the market, so there's no blackout.
Right.
He said we're still looking at that. The most important thing with our direct-to-consumer, we just want to do it right the first time. We want to make sure when we do have it out there, it's of good value to the fans. We realize that the way people consume the game is changing, and we want to make sure we accommodate that. But it's kind of like a measure twice and cut once thing for us. We want to make sure we do it right. That may mean it's not 100% ready to go opening day, but we'll see where it goes, close quote.
Is there a reason
it's not going to be ready opening day?
Is there a
what
reason
have you been doing all offseason, player?
Is there a reason why you read that like a bedtime story?
I'm not sure. That was just in my goofy mood.
No, you're right, man. I can't dodge.
How do you not have it ready for opening day?
I've gotten
a dozen. Be 5-0.
I've gotten a dozen text messages from people asking me what I'm doing for Marquee this year. It's unbelievable. Our own fans, and that's why we might explore some live in-game stuff. Watch the game through us, because
I would like to try that Saturday for the first spring training game.
Oh yeah, well maybe let me know in advance, because I'm going to be in Antarctica. Because it's ridiculous that we have to figure out what we're doing for this ball club. I get the MLB package. I watch every team but my own.
Yeah, well, that's right. It's just not catering to the great fans of the sport.
I don't even get Marquee because I have YouTube TV, so I drive the 15 minutes to my mom's to watch the ball game.
Right.
Because she has a basic Xfinity cable pack, and I made her get Marquee.
Yeah, that's no cheap price.
No, it's no cheap price. That's why I have YouTube TV. It's great. And I love YouTube TV, and I can't believe they haven't worked out a deal so I could just watch my favorite baseball team play. I mean, I can watch Norfolk State versus Weber State in lacrosse, but I can't watch the Cubs play. Explain to me how that makes any sense. I don't know, but what I will say is this. It's a shameful quote.
It's not great. And I was looking into some different options, Fubo TV. I don't really want to take money out of my retirement to get Marquee.
And by the way, bad reporting too. I interrupt him when he said that. He goes, What are you looking at?
Right.
Oh, you're looking to see if you want to let your fans watch the ball game?
Yeah, are you just deciding should it be $8 or $10?
Yeah. What is the holdup? What are you looking at?
Right.
Now, we got a show to do.
Okay. Spring training is underway. We're going to get to a couple lighter topics and questions.
We should have Ricketts on. You make that happen.
I'll look into it coming up next. Welcome back to Locked On Cubs.
I won't ask any cheapy questions
every day. I would really enjoy having him on.
No, and if we had him on, I wouldn't let guys behind the scenes. Matt always makes sure he stays. I stay calm because sometimes I lose my temper.
Or Jed Hoyer, I'd like to have.
No, I don't. I want Ricketts on, and I'm going to pull no punches.
Okay. Some people thought when I teased before the convention that Ricketts was on, they go, "Oh wow, you had Ricketts on?" before they listened to the show.
Yeah.
It's called role playing, folks.
Yeah, it's called parody. It's called acting.
What has your favorite live batting practice session been so far? Give us a call, 312-834-4634. Steele versus Mervis, Stroman versus PCA, Killian versus Bodie. It's good to see the photos and videos coming out of Sloan Park from the beat reporters and the assembled media out in Mesa, AZ, Sam. I've been seeing that the prospects have been holding up pretty well against major league pitching, and I'm excited for Saturday's first game. I'm hoping on Wednesday, by the next time we do a show, so for Thursday's episode, we know Saturday's starter. I'd like to not, why we wait until the last minute on that? I'd like for that to talk about that in the program.
I hope Bodie somehow makes the roster, because I always think it's important to have a guy on the team you could take a bathroom break or a food break when he comes to the plate.
Oh boy.
You know what I mean? Hey, Bodie's up. Let's get let's get the bowl of chili going. I don't know, Matt. I'm excited about it. It's all right. You could laugh. It's your show.
Suzuki was in the weight room. Give us a call, 312.
I'm a little tired of those type of storylines. Just so we know, Jorge Soler was really jacked. That there was a huge story about Lucas Giolito before the season last year, how much weight he put on, good muscle wise. He couldn't get anybody out, was hurt all the time. So that's not necessarily a great correlation. I mean, it's fine. It's not bad.
It's good to see. It's
good to see.
Let's play baseball.
Yeah, no, let's win. Right. Game on, and let's win. You know what I mean?
Now,
this spring training, I'm looking for a very few amount of things. Health.
Not wins, right?
No, I'm looking for that fifth starter spot.
Right.
Who's going to take command of that? As I said, Sampson's the favorite. Wisniewski's got a chance. I don't believe anybody else is even in the running. I don't care what the skipper says. And then that third base job. Wisdom, Rios, McKinstry, Morel, Aramis, Sano, all those guys. So I'm looking forward to watching all that play.
Bellhorn.
I mean, they could just start a game with 9 third basemen.
They could.
So I'm excited that keep you want Barnhart and Gomes working with these starters, get them off their feet after that.
Right.
And then
put in the non-roster invitees.
Yeah, and make sure we get through this WBC healthy. And as long as we're all healthy, me and my dad were going through the 9 and all the stuff yesterday. As long as we're healthy, it's a good team. My dad said 83 wins.
That's fantastic. Back to 5 episodes this week. So please join us Thursday and Friday as well. Be sure to hit the subscribe button.
Bodie's up, sweetie. I got to use the washroom. You don't have to pause it, though.
For Locked On Cubs on YouTube, and smash the like button on all your favorite Locked On Cubs content, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, and more. And you can drop us a text and let us know what you think about Ohtani in the comments as well. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Now make your second. Locked On MLB Prospects for host Lindsey Crosby is a prospect encyclopedia, and he's going deep on the MLB stars of tomorrow. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.